everybody, back with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Every single weekend, we answer about 10 of our community's questions, and always excited to do so. Honestly, my team does such a great job gathering all of these questions from stevencabral.com/askcabral. Feel free to ask your question there, and it will be read live on the show. We're typically about 6 weeks from getting your question answered live. And of course, if you ever have same-day questions, you can ask them at cabralsupportgroup.com. All right, let's dive into today's questions. Excited for 5 more here today. And as I always say, there's no prep work done. I open up this amazing document my team puts together. I read the question as it came in, and I try to give you my best explanation for what you have going on, and then also next steps in order to improve. All right, Kara's up next. Kara says, "Hi, Dr. Ball. I've had trouble falling asleep lately and seem to wake up around 3 a.m. almost every night. I've cleaned up my diet and cut out caffeine after noon, but it hasn't helped. Could this be related to cortisol or blood sugar dips during the night?" It's a great question. So, on 3 a.m., so 2 to 3 a.m. is the most common wake time, 2 to 4, and we'll say 3 as like that median. And there's a few reasons for this. I've actually done a lot of podcasts. So I would check out or just ask at cabralsupportgroup.com if you can't find it. But go to stevencabral.com/podcasts. Check out my podcast on deep and REM sleep. So deep sleep is typically happening between 10 and 2 if you go to bed at 10. So for the first half of the night, you still can get a little bit the rest of the night. And then you kind of switch over and you get more REM than you do deep. And so what happens is if people are stressed, if they're worried, a lot of times they can wake up at this time. And they're waking up and things are on their mind. It could also be from a bump in cortisol, no doubt about it. It could be that you had too much fluid before bed, or you've got a lot of inflammation, you have to wake up to urinate. It could be from a dip in blood sugar. Most people are not dealing with low blood sugar during the night. They're honestly not. I know it's a cause. It's definitely a cause. It's possible, but most people aren't there. Not 9 out of 10. But you could wear a continuous glucose monitor, and you could actually see, if blood sugar is dropping during the night for you. You could also run what's called the bedtime cortisol test. Personally, I would run the stress, mood, and metabolism test. You look at your thyroid. You look at so much more, but you can look at that. And the reason I recommend the stress, mood, and metabolism test over the bedtime cortisol is 1 cortisol reading before bed. They can look at that. But also, if your progesterone is low, then that could be one reason you're waking. So there's a lot of reasons. I've got a lot of podcasts on it. There's never one thing, but follow our 3-2-1 sleep formula that we talk about. So stop eating 3 to 4 hours before bed, 2 hours before bed, no drinks, and 1 hour before bed, no blue light. I just talked on Friday's show about trying a warm bath about 90 minutes to 2 hours before bed. Try to work the system, and then of course use the sleep help support. That's the adrenal soothe and magnesium at dinner, 2 capsules each, and then the liquid melatonin before bed. And then you can also use the sleep help support as well. Okay, Lori's up next. "Hi, Dr. Ball. I've seen different conventional doctors to ask about hormone testing. Each one said that because I was more in the perimenopause stage of life, that testing my hormones would be difficult, and that my hormone levels could be drastically different day to day, and therefore it'd be hard to provide HRT based on one test because it becomes so different if you test on a different day. I would love your thoughts on this and how the EcoLife test might provide more accurate results." Yeah, happy to help with this. So, that is true. It's not that that's not true, but you still have to test. And so if you have a cycle, the absolute best time to test is days 19, 20, or 21 of your cycle. That's the truth. Because you want to look at when progesterone should be at its peak during your luteal phase. And if progesterone's low, it's not going to be higher any of those other days, most likely. It shouldn't be, right? That would be dysfunctional. And then we also want to look at how does that progesterone play into estrogen? Is that why you have more of the lower mood, bloating, water retention, poor sleep-based issues, right? So it's we want to look at all those things. So it's very accurate. The saliva samples, too, are incredibly accurate at seeing what's free in terms of hormone. So I would definitely recommend that. And then again, if you don't want to go on hormone replacement, you want to do it more naturally, you could use estrogen support. You could use progesterone support. You could use, if you needed daily thyroid support, you could use adrenal energy support. You could do things that are a little bit more natural. But again, I'm not against helping women and men with HRT. Whatever people want to use, I support them. I'm not here to tell an adult how to live their life, right? That's what they want to do. Great. I just like to share pros and cons and help people however I can. But for sure, the stress, mood, and metabolism test, again, all these are at stevencabral.com/shop. You'll be able to search for it there. That just takes you over to EcoLife. You'll be able to find those. And if you don't want to do it with us, no problem at all. You can just do it with someone that you feel is qualified to help with your hormones. And it's great. All right, Aaron's up next. I get pressure headaches, maybe sinus headaches, when the weather changes. I live in Washington State, and in the fall, it can be nice and sunny one day and then gloomy and rainy the next. I've always felt the change in pressure and weather has impacted my headaches. What could be the explanation for this? So happy to help with this. This has a lot to do, and there is real truth to it. A lot of people think that there's not truth to it, that, oh, their joints hurt because of the weather. No, like barometric pressure can actually affect headaches and migraines. There's no doubt about that. And so we want to look at a few things. So could it be, if it's like fall time, that there could be decaying leaves and things like that in Washington? Yes, it could be mold-based issues. It could be histamine-based issues. There could be these mold spores in the air. Any humidity on a certain day or pressure can absolutely affect the trigeminal nerve behind the ear, as well as the histamines that I just spoke about. A couple things that can be helpful, though, are like a nasal rinse, showering before bed to get any mold spores or anything. If you've been hiking outside or outside off of you, that's a big one, especially during the spring season in New England when there's pollen. Nasal rinsing or using the neti pot can be helpful. Using your daily nutritional support with your omegas, your Hispro, your vitamin D3, your magnesium, all of those are great for balancing histamine levels. Obviously with Hispro being the standout there. And then inside your house, when you're inside, just make sure you're using a good air filter as well. So those are some of my favorite ways. Obviously, I don't have any of your labs in front of me, but I mean, of course, you can go deeper into this, but hopefully that's helpful as well. All right, let's see. Jennifer's up next. Jennifer says, I have a question about grounding. Does putting your feet in a body of water help with grounding, like a ocean, lake, river, etc.? Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. It's not just in sand or dirt or the grass, especially in the morning. Like salt water is actually a better conductor and has more negative ions than fresh water. But so yes, like if you're near salt water, walk right along that ocean's edge, no doubt about it, right in the sand and the water. If you can do that, that's absolutely fantastic. And that could be a direct conduit of those negative ions into your body. So I'm a big fan of that. Freshwater still, again, don't get me wrong, freshwater still great. If it's running, if it's moving like a creek or a river, then even better. You'll get more of those negative ions. But sure, absolutely anything in nature. I can't say anything in nature, but like most things in nature are going to be good grounding based sources. No doubt about it. So absolutely. All right, Sammy's up next. Sammy says, hi, Dr. Paul. I tried to reach out to you via Instagram because my question doesn't pertain towards a health issue, but more of an inquiry. Since I didn't hear back from you, I thought I'd try here. I'm currently enrolled in level 1 IHP and loving every second of it. I hear you repeatedly mention that women make up the majority of your practice. Two brilliant women that I've been following and learning from over the last year are Dr. Stacy Sims and Dr. Mindy Pels, and research they've done pertaining to women's health is amazing. Have you ever considered doing a podcast with them? I feel as if between all three of you, a discussion could be tremendously helpful for everyone. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, like my whole goal is to give everything away. That's the goal, right? And so, and I feel like I still have a long way to go. I've done now, today's episode 3565 of the show. So 3,565 podcasts. My new book is coming out in just a couple of months, which is exciting, maybe even just a month from now. And yeah, the goal is just to share and just give it all away. So absolutely. I don't typically do interviews on my show, but I'm going to start hopefully doing a few more next year. And I'm definitely open to that. So yes, the answer is yes. Always happy to help. And apologies if I didn't get back to you on Instagram. I've been again, there's always excuses, but so crazy busy trying to finish my book, doing all the editing back and forth. We've got our live event, which I love, and it's amazing. All these things, like so many things going on. And apologies that I'm just not able to get back to everybody on social media. Instagram's the only place I look at my messages, but I still get, like hundreds a day, and that doesn't even count all the comments. So I do my best, but Sammy, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you being a part of IHP, and I always appreciate your suggestions. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody in this community. All of your downloads, all of your shares mean the world to me. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Cabral concept on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care.